What's up, Smithville? Kristen Merriweather, your friendly neighborhood publisher. Hear ye, hear ye! The budget has passed! The budget has passed! After a very long 3.5-month budget process, the Smithville City Council finally voted to adopt the budget and their tax rate on Wednesday. But as has been typical in this budget process, it wasn't without some drama. Before we get to the drama, let's talk numbers. If you'll recall, at last week's budget workshop, the council directed the city manager to lower the tax rate to 63 cents per $100 valuation after residents pushed back against a 15% tax hike. And that meant he had to find an extra $147,000 in cuts. So here's how those cuts were made. The transfer from the utility fund was increased by $65,000. An additional $60,000 in revenue was also found, mostly through tap fees and electrical permits. But they also had about $12,000 from changes to leaf and limb pickup. Then they cut expenses by $87,000. That includes cutting councilmember training, decreasing the condemnation budget by $20,000, and moving several items to the tax note. Those cuts closed the gap on the $147,000. But not everyone was happy. State Rep Stan Gerdes issued public comment asking for even deeper cuts.
So tonight, I respectfully urge you to table this vote. Take a few more days to incorporate the clear savings opportunities your own colleagues have already identified. Come back next week with a tighter budget, and let's pass a tax rate that gives real relief to the families of Smithville. Thank you, and God bless the city of Smithville.
But with the city manager giving his notice to retire last week, the council had to find money in the budget to pay for items in the city manager's contract, a company to hire a new city manager, and potentially pay for 2 people to fill that role during transitions. That left the council in a tough position.
And we have a fiduciary duty to protect every penny of the taxpayers' dollars. Yet we failed to require an adequate succession plan that accounted for the possible outcomes that we're facing at this time. We should have done a better job of understanding the clauses in the contract, and we should have been accruing for those inevitable scenarios that we now face one of. Yet here we are. So my call to us is to let's be better than this. So let's come out of this transition making sure that we have a plan and a process and safeguards that will guide us through what I really consider to be an exciting path ahead.
Councilmember Jimmy Jenkins suggested that the $130,000 in the reserve fund could be used to cover the expenses.
But I think where we're at, would I love to cut the budget down to the no new revenue? I would. I don't believe we can do that and still fund the things that we're going to need to do the transition there and the other things as we move forward.
Councilmember Brandon Dunham didn't like the idea of having to dip into reserves. But after talking out the numbers, there just wasn't a lot of options.
Between having to hire someone and also other expenses related to it, the $140,000 that we cut, who knows if that's enough or not. And so it's now to have requests to cut more. I mean, trust me, as someone that is well beneath 65, I am feeling the pain of this, but at the same time, I don't know where it's at.
Realizing they needed to talk about specific numbers that they couldn't talk about publicly, the council decided to go into executive session to find the money. So for the second time this week, the council gavelled into a 2-hour executive session, and we waited. Do you have any 4s? When they emerged, there was no public discussion, but the decision had been made.
Based on the discussion that we had in the executive session, in the future, we're going to be asking all department heads to propose a 1.75% cut across the board to cover the $120,000 that would be to find.
Councilmember Dunham said the council would come back in December to amend the budget with those new cuts. The council did a roll call vote on the budget and the tax rate, which was set at 63 cents per $100 valuation, and a resolution to adopt the budget. They all passed unanimously. And that, Smithville, is the end of budget season. The new budget will take effect starting October 1st, and that includes the new on-demand leaf and limb service. A final note on the meeting last night: the council observed a moment of silence at the start of the meeting to honor Charlie Kirk and all the victims lost at the hands of violence over the last few months. Charlie spoke truths that not everyone agreed with, but he never backed down from debating anyone on any topic, no matter how much they disagreed with him. He was a rare commentator, someone who engaged in civil discourse, a skill that's been lost in recent years. But it's a skill he not only excelled at, but he also taught the youth of America to join him in. There will never be another Charlie Kirk, but his legacy of using civil discourse to have tough conversations should live on forever. So, starting next week, Smithville Texas News is launching an opinion section. We saw a lot of angry opinions online this budget season, and having a different opinion on politics or governance is very normal. It's actually a sign of a healthy democracy. But a lot of what was said online wasn't healthy. It wasn't productive. And in many cases, it was downright nasty. I can't change you or your online habits. That's between you and Jesus. But what I can do is provide a place for residents to be heard, a public square to debate the challenges facing our community. Because, as Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. And we don't need that here. Look for an announcement about the opinion section in tomorrow's newsletter.